Woohoo!
I feel
Can't wait.
honored.
I know, really. This is celebration time. And Sheral DeVaughn, I met in Denver at a conference, a Gary Barnes event, and we really hit it off. And
We
I just
did.
want to interview you.
And I appreciate it. I'm so happy to see you again. By the way, happy holidays.
Yes,
We
whatever you
did.
celebrate.
Yeah, just celebrate. I think everybody should just celebrate on a daily basis. There's always something to celebrate.
After the last couple of years, we deserve to celebrate.
I think so. I think so. Every day should be a good day to open up a bottle of champagne or celebrate in your own special way. So why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, we were kind of
Absolutely.
coasting along there and thought life was boring. And then let's throw a pandemic in, an election, and war, and all the
Can't,
weather.
don't don't be tempting fate, Ted. Don't go ahead and go, okay, we've done all of these things. What else could they possibly do? Don't tempt that. Don't
Well,
do it.
this morning at 2:30 a.m., there was an earthquake in Northern California, and we have this app on our phone called Shake Alert.
Right.
And there's a feeling of over a certain threshold, it'll alert you.
Hmm.
That thing blew us out of bed.
Oh my gosh. What did it rate on the Richter scale?
6.4, but it's way up in Humboldt County, like hundreds of miles away from here. But it triggered the alert here and woke us up. So Shake Alert app works.
Well, good investment. See,
We didn't even leave bed. My wife and I were like, well, should we go stand under the doorway or under a table?
nah, it's too early in the
Happens when you
morning.
live here too long.
Pretty much. You've got earthquakes. We're preparing for a blizzard here in the middle of the country. Blizzard and wind chills that I haven't seen since I was growing up. They're talking about anywhere from -20 to -60 below zero wind chills for
Whoa.
starting Thursday all the way through Saturday. We'll get the blizzard conditions starting tomorrow, and then all the cold that I thought I left when I left Minnesota after growing up. I
Wow.
moved further south. Apparently not far enough. So,
Oh,
oh
well.
well. We'll get a white Christmas, and that's the beauty of that.
So I liked your title here. It's not a connection if you're standing alone.
And it's true. And I think it's particularly meaningful post-pandemic. We've seen, a lot of people that are the generations in particular that are more isolated with social media and texting back and forth in their phones and such. And then when COVID hit, we all sort of had to hunker in place, and it's almost as if we lost our ability to truly have meaningful connections. And even though we could have thousands of followers on social media, is it really a connection? Are you really engaging and having that meaningful that those meaningful relationships both personally and professionally? And
Yeah.
I've found a lot of people are struggling with it. And so it's very important for me to help get that connection back. Help people feel like they belong, that they have people that they can count on, not just a bunch of likes somewhere. But, it's 3 a.m. and you're sick, or you're pulled over somewhere and you've got a flat tire. Who do you call when you're in trouble out of
Right.
those thousands of followers? You don't. And people don't have that anymore. I think it's so terribly important. When you and I were growing up, we're kind of dating ourselves. You had the phone in the kitchen, where the telephone line stretched and stretched and stretched, and
30
you
feet.
30 feet around a corner, so your parents weren't listening to you talk, with your friends or whatever. We don't have, I mean, in a world where we are so connected, we aren't. We don't have those personal connections anymore. We're not, riding 20 miles on a bicycle, best friend somewhere. It's it's a really strange time that the world is so small, and yet we're so alone. I mean, is it really a connection if you're alone? It's not.
We
It's
schedule time with our best friend to have phone conversations now.
well, we schedule and our best friends don't even want to pick up the don't even want to pick phone and have a live conversation. They want to
Right.
do either little voice clips on WhatsApp. They want to just send texts, and there's not anything that's human about that. And I think
No.
that's where you're going to find people that are struggling in their businesses. Why can't I get the proper customers attracted to me? Why can't I get an audience to build with me on a podcast? Why am I sitting alone on a Friday night, watching reruns of Breaking Bad instead of, going out to a rave or, whatever. But I we're missing that human component, and we've forgotten how to truly connect. You can still do it this way like you and I are doing, but you've got to have
Right.
that live conversation where you can hear the nuances, you can see the expressions, and I think the younger generation
We have a little delay, weather delay. Cheryl will be back in a second. Hey, Gary Barnes, how you doing? I was thinking about you. I was going to call you today, but I had to schedule time. Gary Barnes is commenting that it's negative 50 wind chill Thursday. in
Yeah,
Denver.
yeah, I'm blaming Gary for sending this eastward to Kansas City. He loves to devil me, and so I believe it's his fault for this. I'm going to blame Gary. Gary is one of the greatest guys you will ever meet. Fantastic. A mentor. He's one of my mentors. He's one of my coaches. And I think that's part of the connection piece too, is especially in business. If you want to truly connect and have your business be successful, you've got to have somebody that isn't just, pay me and do this, whatever. They're really there for you. That it's again connection. Not everybody is going to be a great coach or mentor, and not every mentor is somebody you're going to have. Had phenomenal
Right.
mentors throughout my whole life that they're there for you. They'll show you what they've gone through, and you get to pick and choose the pieces that work for you. You don't have to follow everything 100%, but it's that learning process. It's that network. You pick from other people's experiences, and you make it work for you. You fine tune it, and then you
Yeah.
take that and you use it when you meet other people, whether it's at a networking event, whether it's like at a boot camp like you and I met. You take those experiences, you walk up, you have that conversation, and that's a lot of times what it takes in order to make those solid, impactful connections. Just walk up and say hi, start a
Right.
conversation, and listen, pay attention. It's that power of a 5-minute conversation all the time. People are
That's how Gary and I
dying to
met a
connect.
dozen years ago at a boot camp in Los Angeles. We both got into this high-end mastermind, and we spent a lot of time together at the LAX. What was it? The hotel by the airport. Both been
LAX
great
is a
friends for over a
nightmare.
dozen
Listen, with all of the delays that you end up with at LAX, you better learn to just strike up a conversation with somebody. And that's where you get, I mean, that's where you and Gary met. And look at this long-standing friendship. He was telling stories about you, Ted, about your ability to ski, black diamonds. That's pretty impressive. There was a story about firecrackers, M80s.
Maybe some elevator
Maybe.
story too, but we won't go there.
So let me
Yeah.
let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. Have you found that you don't have to have a bazillion connections in order for it to create impact in your world?
I've gone full circle on that. Actually, when I wrote my first Ultimate Guide to LinkedIn book 10 years ago, I had 642 LinkedIn connections.
Okay.
Today I have like 24,000, and I'd rather have 642 friends than strangers that you never hear from.
And I think that's the part that people are missing is,
Yeah.
it's not a numbers game. It's quite frankly, you don't want to work with all of those people. They're not always a right fit for you or you a right fit for them. You
Right.
should have it's the phrase that I always heard was go deep, not wide.
Hmm.
And when you go deep, well, it's kind of like dating or making friends with somebody. They're not you're not going to marry the person the second you meet them. Well, some people do, but most people
I'll
it
do.
takes a little, you know, it takes a little
Kids
time.
change that whole lifestyle.
Yeah, it
Not
doesn't
that I
work
know
out
anything about
very
that.
it doesn't work very well for most people, but
Yeah.
you take the time and get to know one another. And then as you develop that relationship, they start introducing you to some of their friends, some of their family, and then you start building those connections as well. And it's
Yeah.
those deep, solid ones that we've for I don't know why over the past decade, the numbers, sheer numbers equates to success. It doesn't. You're not gonna convert, 17,000 people into your business. You're not gonna have 17,000 people at a dinner party. I I don't know why we got away from that.
You get caught up in the hype, I guess, because so and so has a million followers, so I've got to get a million followers.
And does so and so talk to all million? I know I wouldn't be able to do anything else, and I'd still run out of time trying to connect with 1,000,000. Focus on the one, and the
Yeah.
rest will come. Focused on just one. It's what I learned when I was doing radio. I did morning radio for the better part of 20 years. And when I stopped trying to talk to everyone and I just spoke to one person, um, that's that's when the success came.
Yeah.
And it is that one connection. You're speaking to one person. And it's not just for radio, it's not just for podcasting. It goes into everything. Everything that you do, whether it's you're sending out an email, whether we're doing a live presentation, conversation like this, whether you're, working in a master class, a mastermind, it doesn't matter what it is.
Hmm.
Speak to one at a time and the rest will come. It's almost like a field of dreams kind of a moment, build it, they will come. Just talk to one. The rest will
Right.
show up and they'll be the right people. And that's how you continue to build with that solid foundation that doesn't crumble underneath you later on when, eh, things get rough and all of a sudden, poof, where is everyone? You
Right.
want that solid foundation.
And it doesn't take that long.
It
It just
doesn't.
reaching out to like 100 people on social media a day takes a long time if you're actually trying to converse with them. But if you pick one and say, hey, let's have a call today, they're like, sure, I'd love to. And you have a good conversation, like we're having a great conversation now.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. It's absolutely the biggest. I think the biggest problem for people is they get out of their own way sometimes. They don't think that they have anything interesting to say. They don't think anyone will wanna listen to them. Yeah, there's always something interesting. I mean, it's finding out about, firecrackers and skiing with you.
Right.
All the different things that you don't expect out of somebody, they don't expect out of you. There's gonna be something, some kernel of information that you offer that they're gonna go, "Wow, that's amazing." And we don't get out of our own way because we think we're boring.
Right. When people, I work with them with their LinkedIn. I say, okay, show me some messages you send people to connect. And they're usually sales pitches.
Yeah.
Would you say that to that person if you were face to face with them right now? He says, no, I would never say that. Like, well, why are you emailing it to them?
Pitch slapping.
Yeah.
That's a term that I've come up with over the past couple of years that I use all the time. You're being pitch slapped. And
Yeah.
it's whether it's in a direct message, in an email. Heck, you go to a net if you gone to those networking events where the guy comes up to you and introduces himself or herself, asks you what you do, hands you a business card, and 2 minutes later, after they've told you what they've done, they just bail before they get any details about you.
Or they
That's
talk about themselves and how their fancy car and their expensive house.
it's pitch slapping.
I had
It's
one
it's
guy come, there was
crazy.
500 people at this event, and we're all chatting in little groups. And he comes up and says, can I get your business cards? He says, I'm going to get a business card from every person in this room. We're like, well, what do you do? And he goes, I don't have time. I'm collecting business cards. And he never followed up with anyone. It's like the
It's
strange thing.
it goes back to that whole numbers game. Uh, so what if you've got the numbers if you're not gonna be able to do anything with it?
Right.
There's no business, there's no trust, there's no collaboration, there's no anything.
Yeah.
So, I recommend, go small and meaningful. The rest of it'll all come. It all comes, and like you said, it doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that much time to build going that way either. Now, when I say it doesn't take much time, you know, 6 months to a year, you get that perfect number. Sometimes you get it faster, but in a world where everything is in, 15-second shorts, we expect it to just happen.
Right.
But again, it's kinda like dating, and finding your spouse. It's most of the time, it doesn't happen overnight, instantaneously. You have to spend a little time and make it work and build it up.
And be authentic and genuine. And look,
And I think there's a difference between authentic and genuine on this. Everyone talks authentic is the buzzword, and be authentic, show this, but I think a lot of people maybe show too much. You can
yeah,
be genuine without sharing what color underwear you're gonna pick out, for next Tuesday. Be genuine and consistent in your
yeah.
message. That's the
Be
big thing.
yourself.
If people know they
Don't
can
try to
count
be
on you.
someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so the whole authentic buzzword, I think, is a little overkill. That seems to be the new spin on everything, and I don't think anybody even knows what authentic is anymore. I think it's an overshare.
Oh, yeah. When they
Yeah.
mention authentic, it's one of those buzzwords that makes you go, oh, God, here comes the pitch.
Yep, authentic pitch slapping. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It just kills me. I don't know who's teaching that method of connection, but they should be taken into a room and just pitched for a full week. They should be forced to listen to horrible pitches for a full week nonstop straight. That's probably torture. That's probably banned by the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Now,
it's
there's
just
people that teach that and they make millions of dollars because they target the people that are like the wannabe millionaires. And
yeah.
they say they're selling them hope. They're not selling them any system that will actually make them $1 million, but they're selling them hope. And they're really, really adamant about that. And they say, make up a fictitious character and then step into those shoes when you're writing your copy. I'm like, why wouldn't I just be myself?
The only way that you can step into the shoes of a fictitious character is if it's actually you and you're not fictitious. It's so ridiculous. I mean, how could you possibly know what somebody else's experience is along the way? You have to be genuine. You have to be yourself. You have to write to your own experience.
Right.
Think in terms of, all right, here's my product. Would I buy it? What would I use it for? Actually, turn around and buy your own product.
Right.
Use it. How does it help you? How does it affect you? What problems are you solving for yourself in that? And once you figure that out, then you'll be able to share that experience, and the people that can relate to it, that actually need it, that's how you build that level of trust. But this
Yeah.
this making up, step into the shoes of a fictitious character, I don't I don't deal with fictitious characters. I deal with people.
I know.
I don't
I'll
own
tell you,
a fictitious dog. I don't have a fictitious husband and fictitious children. They're real. And so are the people that you should be connecting with.
I think social media has really made things just so fast and crazy and sound bites. So there's no details. It's all about, they just put it out there. Oh, I got a new car. And it's fake. They probably rented that car and took pictures.
Yep, the flex, where you stand in front of either a rented car, or you literally walk the streets and make certain that the owner of the vehicle isn't there. You lean up against their photo or their vehicle. You take the photo, gotta make sure the watch is, in it, and the
Right.
right pose, and, you have to be kind of looking off in the sky. It's the flex pose.
Yeah.
That's not authentic either. That's that's not genuine. That's if you're hanging out with people that do that, you might wanna think about who you're hanging out with.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of probably we're connected 24 hours a day with our phones. We got this small screen, so we don't read everything. We skim and pick up a word or two here or there, and then we share it. Like, oh, I didn't want to share that. When you actually read it.
Well, and I think that's the biggest takeaway in this conversation, it should be at least, is that if you wanna connect and you wanna have impact and you want your personal relationships to be satisfying and successful,
Yeah.
you have to slow down to go fast.
Hmm.
Slow down. We have the attention span, goldfish have more of an attention span than we have. It's ridiculous. Slow down. Just slow
Yeah.
down. Read. Take the time to I know people don't like to read, but they're just short little captions anyway. It's not like you're reading, Ulysses or anything. Just read. Read that little bit. Pay attention. To give an extra 3 seconds, 5 seconds to pay attention, and that's when you start training yourself on how to truly connect.
Right. It's not
And
hard.
you'll No, and you won't have to feel alone or unheard, like you've got some sort of an invisible voice. I it's not just it's a benefit to the people that you connect to, but it's a benefit to you as well. I mean, it's healthy, and it's what creates success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you're online, treat people like you're face to face at Starbucks. What would you say to them? They go, I don't know what I would say to them. Like, well, they're your friend. Start with the
Well,
weather,
yeah. Start
whatever.
start with hi, or hey, I hear we're gonna get a blizzard here tomorrow, or whatever.
Right.
Or what do you think of that coffee? Do you like and is this overpriced? Are they really hiding, these if you're at Starbucks, are they really hiding all the burnt and rancid beans that they make their coffee out of with all of these different flavors? And why do we pay this much to drink it? Start a conversation like that. It'll
Right.
make people raise an eyebrow maybe if you say it, but it's an attention grabber. And then you start making the connection from there. I mean, I think you and I what was it you were asking at Gary's boot camp, you were asking people about their LinkedIn headlines, and
Yeah.
I think that's when you and I, first had our first interaction. I asked about whether I should leave the fact that I love mullets, the hairstyle, in my LinkedIn headline, and
Yeah.
you said, Absolutely."
Mhm. Right.
And who knew that the mullet would have such a profound action-making ability? I do not advocate, getting a mullet. Well, maybe I do, just not for myself.
It'll be back in a couple of years, so don't worry.
Oh, it is coming. It is coming
I
back with a vengeance. I love that. And people, I've noticed people with mullets seem to have no issue with confidence.
know.
They can connect.
They do.
There's something we learned from
Hmm.
those that sport a beautiful Mississippi mud flap, the Tennessee waterfall, or
Yeah.
water mull, as I like to call it. Who knew that we'd get off on a tangent here on mullets, Ted?
I
I
know.
did not even expect this.
Well, it's kind of like with my LinkedIn. When I connect with people, I send a message. Just for fun, tell me something interesting I wouldn't know from your LinkedIn profile. People
And
tell
I
me
think
really crazy stuff.
I think that is the best way to handle it. Had an improved conference, just like you were talking about, just this past week. Guy I had connected with that I had not met in person yet. We never chatted, and reached out and said, "Tell me something I don't know." So I shared with the podcast that I'm doing, Cocktails and Conspiracies, talked about interviewing a gentleman that had a Bigfoot experience, and a woman who she is she offers counseling, but she also communes with reptilians.
Hmm.
You wouldn't know that looking at me that I'm interviewing people like that. And then I asked him, I said, "What about you? What's going on in your world?" He's a huge Star Wars fanatic and dresses up in this. He's really tall and he's got a Chewbacca outfit that he takes. He's doing Santa, Chewbacca, and things like that. I would have never, ever in a million years have dreamt that this guy was a big, Star Trek, or not Star Trek, but Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
So we hopped on a Zoom, and now we're starting to collaborate. I mean, he's brilliant
It has nothing to
with
do with his
what he
business and
does.
what he does, but it was a connection you had with him.
And yeah, those are the things, don't be afraid. Get out of your own way and just find something interesting
Yeah.
to share with, you're
That's what
gonna
I do
get
lately
you're
with
gonna get
people.
people that look.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, I apologize. But I mean,
No.
you'll get people that'll look at you funny, but then some of those people that are totally into it, and that's how you start building, the other buzzword that's thrown around all the time. That's how you're building your tribe. But
Right.
it kind of applies because you don't necessarily wanna connect with everyone. You just wanna connect with the right people.
That's how I've shifted my strategy on LinkedIn. I used to search for job titles. Now I search for certain content. Then I also say, instead of saying, "Who's your perfect customer?" you say, "Jane, she's a senior vice president. She's 42. She has two children, lives in the suburbs with her husband, blah, blah, blah." I say, "Describe your best friend." And they write
Yeah.
out, "This is your best friend. Wouldn't you want to work with people that are just like your best friend?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's so much better than having that fake person over there that."
You know what else is nice about working with your best friend? It doesn't feel like work.
Right.
I mean, there's the secret sauce for
Exactly.
everyone. That's the secret of success. When
Yeah.
you can get up every day and what you do doesn't feel like work, just feels like hanging with your best friend,
Right.
that is the definition of success.
So much easier.
It really is. It's so much more fun.
I
It
know.
really it really is, all the way around, and I think we just need to get back to that that whole don't be afraid of don't be afraid of reaching out and saying something. If you're gonna embarrass yourself, so what? Everybody gets embarrassed. Everybody has something where they stumble.
Right. Go
Why
for a
not?
walk without your phone sometime and see what that's like. Spend 10 minutes without your phone.
You'll discover what an addiction it is, but it's fantastic. It is so freeing. I,
Yeah.
I get to do that a lot in the summer. I think we talked about it with the kayaking that I do, that I race kayaks long
Yeah.
distance. And, I can't be on the phone. The battery wouldn't last, and if I needed it for an emergency or GPS, because 'cause I'm paddling at night too,
Hmm.
um, you are disconnected. You have to be in tune with yourself. and you have to be in tune with the people around you and start paying attention. And you start discovering how difficult of a time we have connecting now, and how bad it's get because everyone's, "Oh, yeah, I know how to connect." Do it. Exactly what you said. Go put it down for an hour.
Oh my
For a
God,
full
come on.
hour. Do it. Do it. Put it down for a full hour. I went, what, 70 over 72 hours. I went 86 hours. Put it down. Just see once for an hour,
Yeah.
just to see. Just to see. And you'll discover how difficult of a time. You are not as polished and easily connected as you think. You are not this networking god or goddess, and you are forced to rely on communication skills you forgot you had, or maybe you don't have, and you start having to work on building those communication skills, because that's a secret to connection. It's not about getting people to like or putting up, "Hey, look at this picture of my food." Who the heck cares?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't
It's
like
not
that,
about likes and comments. It's about connection.
It is,
Yeah.
and the experiences. It really is.
Cool. This has been great. We could talk forever.
Oh, yes, we could.
We could go another
I
hour.
tell you what,
easily.
we'll chat. We'll get together and we'll just keep doing chats. But I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come
You've
and
got a
visit
free
with
gift
you.
for everyone. Want to explain what the free gift from Sher is?
I do. Free gift from Sher is a 30-day free membership into my Engage Your Voice communication networking group. No strings, no obligations, no anything. Come in, check it out. You get live tips with other people. You get to network. You throw out what the issues that you might be have in some of this connection, and we'll go through tips and strategies right on the spot. Plus, if you can't make it, you get the MP4 and MP3 recordings the next day. You can email me questions that you want discussed on there, and it's really a good strategy session to help you maybe deal with, the generational gaps in your employment, your any number of topics. We had somebody ask, how do I properly break up? All kinds of different things that come in there. So I like to go ahead and let people dip their toe in the water and see if maybe there's something that they can find some value and benefit with no obligation.
Sounds awesome. And what's the name of your book, and where can they get that?
Oh, yes. Let me grab it here. My book is called The Frog in Your Throat. Let me see if I can get that position there. You can find it on Amazon. It's available on Kindle. I'm in the process of recording the Audible version of it. It's a little autobiographical, but it also is a step-by-step process for how you can your life's hurdles and get your voice back. I had a 20 plus year career with radio, and then found I had lost my voice. Not literally lost my voice, but I couldn't speak anymore. I didn't feel like I had anything to say, that there was a voice that I wasn't being heard. And this goes through a process on how to get your life back, at least through my experiences over, 40, 50 years. And so it's kind of an unfairy tale is what I
That's
call
fascinating.
with
You
a
go
happy
from
ending.
talking to a radio host or whatever to I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and it happens. You never know. There's always going to be a hurdle in life that will hit you that you don't see coming, and it can derail you. And so this has been this book was very cathartic in going back and seeing all the mistakes that maybe I made along the way, and then putting it into a form where maybe you won't make those same mistakes, or you'll see yourself and go, "Yeah, I could have handled that differently." So it's sort of an unconventional primer for leaping life's hurdles is what it is.
We all make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help and admit we're wrong.
It is, but it goes so much deeper than that, because I mean, you can get hit with tragedies, whether it's an injury, whether it's a death, there's substance abuse, there's divorces, there's all sorts of different things. There's, workplace discrimination. There's all kinds of various things that people will have to deal with, and it shows the perception from both sides and where the misunderstandings, the miscommunication come in to create an even bigger. But what's a hurdle anyway? It's just, a little platform on two sticks. You can go over it, under it, around it. You can
Yep.
fall on it, over it. There's any number of ways to get around a hurdle. And this gives a step-by-step guide to how to tackle them.
Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful holiday. Thank you so
You
much for your
too.
time.
Oh, thank you so much. We'll be in touch soon. Happy holidays to you.